This podcast is brought to you by Reynolds & Reynolds, the industry leader in automotive technology. Learn how Spark AI, Reynolds' unified AI data layer, can help you unlock your full potential by visiting rey.com/spark-AI. That's rey.com/spark-AI.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Monday, July 14th, 2025. I'm Jamie Butters, Executive Editor of Automotive News in Detroit.
And I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, President Trump announces 30% tariffs on the EU and Mexico. GM idles a pickup plant in Mexico for several weeks. And Stellantis chairman John Elkann settles a $200 million tax case in Italy. Plus, Bergstrom Automotive chairman John Bergstrom joins the show to talk about his decades-long career as a dealer and how his company has grown to about $2 billion in sales.
It's one of those things that it's a long-term play. And if you can build a team of people together that have this culture and this philosophy and really care about what they're doing in their life, this is a good path to follow.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry.
President Donald Trump says he plans to put a 30% tariff rate on Mexico and the European Union. Trump made the announcement in two letters posted to social media over the weekend. He says the new rates will kick in on August 1st if they cannot negotiate better terms. He has spent the week sending out letters to countries, tweaking his proposed tariff levels from April, and inviting trading partners to negotiate further. Trump made no mention of special treatment for autos exported to the U.S. from the EU.
Meanwhile, General Motors is pausing some production south of the border. The Detroit automaker is idling output at a pickup plant in Mexico for several weeks. That's according to two people familiar with the matter who spoke with Reuters. GM's complex in Silao, Mexico, assembles the Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra full-size pickups. The plant was down for the first 2 weeks of July, and sources say it's scheduled to be idled again the weeks of August 4th and 11th. GM did not confirm the precise schedule.
Ford is recalling nearly 1 million vehicles in the United States and Canada because of a potential low-pressure fuel pump failure. NHTSA and Transport Canada say the issue could cause an engine stall. Ford said it is still developing a remedy. It's the latest in a slew of quality problems for Ford. The automaker's 89 recalls so far this year are more than the next 5 manufacturers combined. It's also more recalls than any automaker has issued in a single year.
And Stellantis and Ferrari chairman John Elkann, along with his siblings, have settled a tax dispute in Italy over their inheritance from their grandmother, Morella Caracciolo. That's according to a family spokesperson. The case opened last year alleged that the three siblings did not pay taxes in the country on assets they inherited after her death in 2019. She was the wife of late Fiat boss Gianni Agnelli. Italian daily Il Fatto Quotidiano says the Elkanns would pay at least 175 million euros or $205 million to settle the tax dispute. Italy's revenue agency did not respond to Reuters' request for comment. And those are today's headlines. So, Jamie, President Trump announces 30% tariffs on the EU and Mexico. How will these tariffs affect the industry, especially the European automakers?
Well, you have to think that these are not going to go into place. It's always a little risky. The president's very unpredictable negotiator. These seem to be, one of those cases where he throws out a big scary number, puts a deadline on it to try to force some give and take in the negotiating process. So, we'll see. If there's a 30% tariff that stays on all the EU products, it's going to cause a lot of trouble for the economy on both sides of the Atlantic. If it's 30% on autos, that would be a huge deal. But even if it's just the 25% auto tariffs, that's going to be really challenging if Europe can't get it lowered to something like the 10% that the UK got. So we'll see how that turns out.
Gotcha. Coming up, Bergstrom Automotive chairman John Bergstrom joins the show to talk about his career and his view of the retail landscape in 2025. That's next on Daily Drive.
Daily Drive listeners like you have access to the lowest price for Automotive News Congress 2025 on September 11th.
The event is where the industry's biggest players tackle its toughest challenges. Congress attendees don't just follow the industry, they lead it.
This year's featured speakers include Hyundai Motor Group Executive Chair Yusin Chung and General Motors CEO Mary Barra.
We are investing in America. We're creating jobs. That's creating IP in this country. And I think, the United States needs to lead in key technologies.
Join us to gain the insights and connections needed to steer your business through massive change.
To get the lowest price for the event, go to autonews.com/events, select Auto News Congress, and type in the discount code Daily Drive, one word, all caps. We'll see you in September in Detroit.
As your business gets more complex, it feels like productivity can't go any higher. You need a way to move forward to a future where you don't have to start every interaction from scratch. You don't have to search for actionable information. You don't have to manually pull data to make decisions. You need a future where the complex is made simple and you can do more with less. How do you get there? It all starts with a spark. Unlock your full potential with the next generation of automotive dealership technology that actually does some of the heavy lifting for you by texting leads, transcribing calls, making data-backed recommendations, and boosting your overall productivity so that you can spend your time and energy on what truly matters, selling cars and growing your business. Spark AI, Reynolds' unified AI data layer, can empower your dealership to operate more efficiently and effectively than ever before, so you can do more, sell more, and make more. To learn how Spark AI can help your dealership reach its full potential, visit rayray.com/spark-AI today. That's reyray.com/spark-AI to learn more.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Jamie Butters with Kellen Walker. After 2 unsuccessful attempts to break into the auto retail business, John Bergstrom got his chance in 1982 with a line of credit from GM to open his first store. In the decades since, Bergstrom Automotive has grown to become the largest auto retail group in Wisconsin. Bergstrom joined me here in Detroit during a recent visit. He was in town to help us honor fellow retail giant Roger Penske with an Automotive News Centennial Award. We talked about his career and his view of the retail world in 2025. John Bergstrom, welcome to Daily Drive.
Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here in Detroit. You're here for the Roger Penske celebration as part of the Automotive News Centennial. And as part of our coverage, my colleagues on the retail team are talking with, there's some of these dealers who just cannot give up the game and they're well past retirement age and they stay in auto retail. And we're trying to understand, what makes people like that, people like you, tick. So I guess let's start at the beginning. How did you get into the auto business?
63 Corvette Stingray. And that's true. Actually, I was riding in the car with my mom to go to the dentist, and I saw a 63 Corvette, asked her to turn around and follow it. She kind of laughed and whatever. But always been infatuated with cars, and it's been a keystone of what we've done business-wise ever since.
So that's what sparked your love of cars, but how did that turn you into a dealer? Did you go get a job at a Chevy store then?
Actually, I was going to Marquette University right after that and wanted to be in the car business, so didn't have money. My brother Dick and I started a little bar. Made our parents wonderfully unhappy because they had sent us both to Jesuit education and made the family sacrifices so we could all do that. I applied to be a Chevy dealer. There was no Chevy dealer in our community, and we were turned down because didn't have the financial wherewithal. And on our third try, 1982, Roger Smith, General Motors, GMAC gave us a line of credit. We had our chance to go in the car business. Local banker found a Butler Building fellow that leased us a 12,000 square foot building, and that's how we started. It's been a wonderful opportunity for our family, our friends, our community. Me personally, certainly has its ups and downs, but I look at the car business as kind of the epitome of capital America.
Yeah. I mean, 1982, that was a rough economy, especially in the Midwest.
17.5% was our floor plan cost. Wild. But we were naive. I didn't know any better. And the trick was just make enough to pay it off.
Yeah.
And as long as you could get to Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the banks closed, you had all weekend to figure out how to make payroll work. So,
So how big is the Bergstrom Automotive Group now?
we're about $2 billion in sales.
Wow. So what have you learned in these 45 years or so, 40 plus years?
This is a wonderful business. I had the opportunity to do things I could have never done any other way, and have the chance to work with my family. My son and I work together, talk several times a day, have fun with each other. We've made wonderful friends, and I can count on good days and bad days. And it also gives us the opportunity to make a difference. And how you keep score in life is, a lot of people do it a lot of different ways, but if I look at it, how do you make a difference for being here? This business has provided us that opportunity.
By creating jobs?
All kinds of things. Give opportunities to other young people that want a job, need a job, certainly to help people that are having a tough time in a community where you have the financial wherewithal. Maybe the whole systemization of letting people start at an entry-level job and end up running a business for you. And wonderfully successful stories that not only is good for that individual, but everybody around him. So it's a very good business. It certainly has its short points. So I was working with a young man that was looking at the car business, and he said, I just can't imagine working Saturday. And I said, well, I can't imagine not working Saturday. I've worked every Saturday for 40 plus years, and I don't look at it as work. I look at it as an opportunity. And this is what I like to do. We sell cars when people are not working, so it works best if we're here and are asking our team to work on Saturdays. How could I ask them to if I'm not going to? And quite frankly, I like to. So it isn't for everyone, for sure. But for the people that like the spirit of the game, it starts the first of every month. It's just like an NFL football game.
Mm-hmm.
And when the game's over, you start over again the next month. And you build teams of wonderfully interactive people that do their job very well. And when they get to the point where they can look at each other and say, we're one of the best at whatever we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Chevrolet gave us our start. So I've always been very appreciative of that opportunity. So we always drive a General Motors car. And if we get an opportunity to buy a Chevy store that has any scale, we go at it, like to do that. And all of a sudden, this Chevrolet thing becomes a family. And General Motors kind of becomes a family. And you end up, quite frankly, having a life that's much more rewarding than a job.
Mm.
You end up with a sphere of people that you can work with that you really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask, most Chevy dealers still, I think, negotiate in the traditional style.
Mm-hmm.
But your group operates no haggle stores. And I wonder, where did that come from and why do you stick with it?
Early in our career, General Motors decided they were going to have an experiment called Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key pieces of that experiment was it was going to be totally guest focused. Take great care of the guest every day, every way you could. And we found out early on that the guests didn't want to negotiate. Really.
Right.
Some people do, but I would say, at least at that time when we were really doing the research, especially women, nobody wanted to do it. And it worked great. Our Saturn business was outstanding. If General Motors would have invested in the product and had the ability to, and I'm not finding fault with whatever they did, but it was a wonderful model for us. And we've done it ever since.
Even out of your other brands?
We do it whether it's Mercedes or Kia.
Right.
And we represent every brand sold in the U.S. that has any scale. And we don't think it's brand specific. It's kind of culture specific. We're going to treat these people like they're part of our family. And if we build that relationship, we're not going to make a lot of money on every one, but you're going to have those people come back, and their kids and their neighbors and their priest, whatever, comes back. And I'm very comfortable having us involved in getting people the car that they want, knowing that we're giving them a fair price in a competitive situation. We're giving them what their car is worth. We're helping get financed at a competitive rate. Those are the relationships we're going to build that are going to come back.
Yeah.
We're going to sell, give or take, 40,000 cars this year. And we live in a community with 20,000 people. So it works. Now, I'm not saying we're smart and know how to do it, and other people are off track. Different ways for different people, but for us, it's worked very well.
This is, of course, the Automotive News Centennial Year, and as part of that, we're asking some people to, reflect and to look forward, and in particular, trying to think of, who are some of the characters who've really shaped the industry and changed the industry, and thinking about how Saturn made such an impact, especially on your business. Is there someone you think of when you think about that business model and that approach to retail?
Well, Skip Lafaux had this laser-like focus on, we're going to take great care of customers. I can remember in the first month or two, they sold a Saturn to somebody that lived on an island in Alaska, and the seat broke, and they flew the seat up to.
Yeah.
And everybody thought they were crazy, but everybody remembered that. And then Hal Riney put this wonderful video together, Spring in Spring Hill, that had this little American city in the middle of nowhere where everybody got along, and the sun came up and the horses walked through the paddock, and it was like it should be.
Yeah.
And we've emulated that. Tim and I have several times been put in a position where people think maybe we're on the wrong track, but we're doing all right, and we're going to continue on this path. And we have not seen a situation yet where we can say, no, we got to abandon this and try and figure out how to make money instead of take care of people. We look at the make money as kind of the scoreboard. Where are we and how are we doing? And anybody'd say you're nuts to be in a business that has this much risk. And if you do a really good job, in some brands, you might make 5%, and then you pay taxes at 2.5%, and you get 2.5%, and the manufacturer makes you put a storefront on. Now you're down to 29 cents. Reality is, it's one of those things that it's a long-term play. And if you can build a team of people together that have this culture and this philosophy and really care about what they're doing in their life, this is a good path to follow.
Are you ever going to retire? Are you thinking about retiring?
I think the Lord's in charge of that program. I'm not going to do it on a voluntary basis. But if it were ever not fun, I would probably say, what are you doing? But it was fun getting up this morning and getting ready and jumping in a plane and coming over here to cheer for Roger. What a wonderful model for all of us. And doing it right and working hard. And I'm kind of a rookie, He was 10 years old when I was conceived, I think. So, but a lot of them, Carl Sewell, just wonderful people. We talk most Saturday afternoons and laugh at each other and have fun. And somebody might think we're past our prime, but we don't think so. Yeah. We think we're still working on it. And we're blessed to have our family members work with us. Randy Nearing's another one of these people that's just iconic. And Rick Hendrick. Rick Hendrick and I started in the same month in the car business. And we laugh at each other. But I was really sick not too long ago, a while back. I pick up the phone. Hey, buddy, how you doing? You're tired and sick and worn out. And I said, doing fine. How about you? He says, you selling any cars? I says, no, most of these people in Houston are not interested in talking to me, And he laughs a little bit. And you hang up and you think, this is a pretty cool business.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of really neat people.
Do you have advice? What advice do you give to somebody starting out in auto retail?
Don't quit, because it's too easy to quit. because you're going to have all kinds of pitfalls. But if you hang in there and don't get over exercised about the whole thing, keep taking care of people, you'll be just fine. And I do believe that when it's all over, somebody might say to you, "How was your life?" You could say, "Yeah, we made a difference." We're proud of that.
John Bergstrom, chairman of the Bergstrom Auto Group, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story.
Very happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Jamie Butters.
And I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer for his help on today's podcast. You can get the latest news on retail, tariffs, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com.
Come back tomorrow for a look at the FTC's new tool to help dealers understand and comply with its safeguards rule and what it implies about how the agency plans to enforce those regulations.
It is a very clear indicator that the FTC is thinking about dealerships and specifically thinking about them related to the safeguards rule.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.